One man is being victimized by our own government. One man whom they fear, yet whom millions love. One man who is willing to take the poison arrows of lawfare. One man whose voice has been taken away by a corrupt judge operating in a corrupt system. One man who has been ridiculed and insulted. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who refused to back down. One man who stands between us and them. One man that wants to see America protected again. One man who wants to see America prosper again. One man who understands that a man is a man and a woman is a woman. One man who understands and protects the blessing of life. One man who wants to restore American exceptionalism. One man who once again wants to make America that shining city on a hill for all to see. A place where all the people of the world glowingly set their eyes upon. America. One man who unashamedly wants to make America great again. That one man is Donald Trump.
This is Fanfare with Barry Cunningham.
What's everybody doing on a Sunday night? Nothing much going on today. Nothing much at all. Yikes. Yes, a ton of stuff going on. And I thought about this show tonight, and I'm like, where do I need to go with this? What do I need to talk about? And I realize at this point, you've probably been inundated with news. I'm sure you've had news for the last 24 hours. Actually, it's pretty funny. At 6:11 yesterday is when it happened. And so it's been about 24, almost 25 hours since somebody took a shot at our president. And the news has been 24/7 since that time. It's been completely a deluge. And one of the things I didn't think I'd see was the media continuing the hoax. The media continuing to hang on to the, the insanity that they are. It's as if they have no pivot whatsoever, that they can't talk about anything that real Americans care about. And because they only have that one game plan, it's like they have to just keep pushing the same narrative. And I saw so many politicians do the same old crap of, thoughts and prayers and all this kind of stuff. And it made me, on a Sunday afternoon, it made me actually pissed. I mean, as I said yesterday when it happened, I again got some righteous indignation. I got some righteous anger. Because how do you spend basically the last 2 years telling everybody that this man is an existential threat to democracy, that he's going to be a dictator on day one, that he's going to take away all your rights, your lives are going to be horrible. He's basically the second coming of Adolf. How do you say that and then in less than one day turn around and wish the man that you said was all those things thoughts and prayers for a recovery and hope you're better. There's only one way you can say that, is that you are completely phony. But it takes somebody with a reasonable amount of intelligence to discern that. You have to be a person who looks at what things are said and what things are done and realize you're being gaslit. Unfortunately, there are too many people in this country who can't have that discernment, who aren't possible of having that kind of discernment. Today I saw all over the place that another type of gaslighting began. And that gaslighting was that, hey, you know what? That it was staged. It was fake. Tell that to the family of the man who got killed, that it was fake. How do you explain that? There is a man who left his family. He died protecting his family. And you've got the bold-faced audacity, the ignorance to tell people it was staged. You have the bold-faced audacity to be happy that it happened. Yes, there were people out there saying they were happy that it happened. There's a special kind of evil that's enveloping the land right now. And I'm sure you guys have seen it. I should have had it. I don't have it ready. But in addition to the evil that's walking the land, there's obviously a spirit of providence, a spirit that is out there. Because the man could have died. I mean, literally inches away. I know many of you probably have seen the picture of the bullet whizzing by. That wasn't the actual bullet. That was the vapor trail of the bullet. The bullet was further away because he would have been dead by the time he heard it. There's also some pictures out there from a surgeon who said that the bullet clipping his ear, or rather if it was shrapnel, whatever, it clipping his ear was because his head was in the position I'm in right now. So if the bullet was coming and it hit his ear here, and they said if he had been turned just a few inches, it would have missed his ear and went into the back of his brain. Yet you've got idiots out there saying it was staged. You got idiots out there saying, well, if God saved Trump, why didn't he save the other guy? And I don't have time for these fools. I can't suffer these fools anymore. You shouldn't have time for these fools. At this point, full on rebuke them. They're completely evil. But luckily, what I also saw today, which is I want to focus on, it's almost like when you go to church. But today is Sunday, a bunch of you guys probably went to church. And when you went to church, depending on what kind of church you go to, I go to a Christian, a Baptist church. Some of you may go to a Catholic church. But in a Baptist church, at the end of every service, there's an invitation. And that invitation is, come. Billy Graham used to have stadiums and would say, come as you are, come. And what I saw today reminded me of an invitation. I saw so many people, and this is what I want to focus on tonight. There's so much bad news out there. There's so much idiocy. I think my little corner of the world here, those of you who are right here, right now listening, and those of you who may see this on a replay, let's focus on building the community, the Trump community. Let's focus on being that light that helps people come from the darkness into the light. I'm not interested in the sensationalism anymore. I mean, let me just put this back up here for a second as I say this. We watched a man, and you've seen the picture. It was my title picture today. The flag is in the background, and excuse me for a second, I got to edit my chair. The flag is in the background. He had just basically dodged death. Death had come for him. And, depending on what you're hearing about the Secret Service agents, I don't even want to go into that because you know what? That's negative as well. That doesn't matter right now. What matters is that this man is alive. What matters is that Barron, Eric, Don Jr., and Tiffany and Ivanka have a father. What matters is that Melania has a husband. What matters is this nation has a leader, a man waiting to assume the position again that was taken from him. That is what I think is important right now. There's lots of news out there. There are a lot of people talking. There are a lot of people going to be doing some investigations. Leave that to them. Let's begin today to build a bridge, a community for people who need to understand you've been lied to. Everything you've heard has been a lie for the last 8 years. Your government has been gaslighting you. Later on, I'm going to be showing you a video, not too much later on, in a couple minutes. And in that video that I made earlier, I talk about it. And I say, you have to realize that a lot of black people were bamboozled by Obama being the first black president. And they voted for him just because he was black. And then a lot of women were bamboozled because Hillary was going to be the first woman. And they voted for her just because she was a woman. And then Joe comes along, and people didn't really want Joe, but then they created something to allow Joe to take the position from Trump. And something I posted on Twitter today, and I was like, as of today, you have to understand there are no more conspiracies. There are no more coincidences. We have lived through, and some of us who are older, have lived through conspiracies our entire life. Think about these conspiracies. Who killed JFK? They don't want us to know. The man got his brains blown out, and then they sealed the investigation. And then from there, all kinds of conspiracy theories came out, or didn't come out, were shut the book on. And then Martin Luther King Jr. was killed. Again, that was in April of '68. Some of you guys might not be old enough to remember that. Never really found out what was behind it. James Earl Ray. Okay, how did this guy do that? We don't know. RFK Jr. is running for president right now. He has alluded to what's been going on and what he knows about his dad's death. But that just went away. Fast forward to September of 2001. September in 2001, planes hit the World Trade Center, people die, and that was 23 years ago. Do you realize how many voters are alive today who have no idea what happened on 9/11? It's not taught in schools. It's not really in a lot of the history books. It's only what they see online or what they hear. And so people are able to tell them, it's not what you think. There are many kids who don't believe in the Holocaust. There are many people who don't think October 7th even happened. Our news, as recent as October 7th with the Gaza thing in Israel, there are people out here who saying it didn't happen. And people don't have the wherewithal to look for their friggin' self and see, dig, look at these things yourself. And then our government, the White House, the top seat in America, tells us what we see and what we hear about Dementia Joe is fake. Our own government. So if they're willing to tell you what you see and hear with your own eyes is fake, then 50, 60 years of fakeness, of conspiracy, has to be questioned. You see where I'm going with this parallel? If they're going to look you in the face, stand up on the podium, Joe's fine. All those things you see, those are deep fakes. They're not true. I saw it. I mean, I actually saw it. I heard what he said. Oh, no, those are all computerized, altered videos. And then the news followed suit. Oh, that's fake. It's not really what you're seeing. You guys keep falling for this crap. It's fake. And there's certain segment of the population who go, yeah, makes sense. Joe's fine. And then today, with again your own eyes, your own ears, we watched it. Didn't happen to some people. And to others, it was deserved. He's basically Adolf incarnate. So my question to you is, just in your most recent history, if your government at the highest level told you not to believe what you saw in the debate and in the Stephanopoulos interview with your own eyes and ears, many of you watched it with me. If they told you that wasn't true, what happened in 1963? What happened twice in 1968? What happened in 2001? We are in a very bad place. We are somewhere right now where I think the illusion, as I mentioned, the band Styx, the grand illusion, the royal scam, is being basically put upon us. And if you don't have the discernment now to begin asking questions amongst everybody you know, your family, your friends, your coworkers, and if they're not willing to discuss it, maybe it's time to rebuke them. Because the biggest fraud we're getting right now is that there's more than two, you know what I mean, can't even say the words. Think about that. There are certain words you are no longer allowed to say. So we're not supposed to question 1963 when you're telling me I'm looking at my granddaughter and my grandson, and there's more than just those two. There's my granddaughter, there's my grandson, but they're weebies and heebies and zeebies and can be anything they want. And that's what my government is telling me. The Supreme Court, Miss Jackson, during her confirmation hearings, to one of the top offices in the country, Mrs. Jackson, Katami, whatever your name is, how do you define a woman? What, am I on candid camera? What do you mean? The answer should have been very easy. I'm a woman. She should have said. Kindergarten Cop. You remember the movie? Boys have wee-wees, girls have vaginas. It's a very simple question. Define what a woman is. My point with all of this is we are going to the yellow brick road at this point. We are in search of Oz because you are being told in no uncertain terms, do not believe anything that you know, don't believe anything that you see, don't believe anything that you hear, and we'll tell you what is reality. So no, Trump didn't get shot at yesterday. It's an illusion. He had some ketchup and he popped it. Just understand it. Joe's fine. He just had a bad day at the debate. What about the Stephanopoulos interview? Oh, no problem. He nailed that. Why is he going to Delaware every single weekend? Oh, nothing. That's just where he likes to get some rest there. People were in a bad way. And so my thing with this video is, and I'll get to you guys right now, is you can't believe anything that you see, and because you can't believe it, it causes more questions. I saw this tweet today. I don't even know who this is. This guy is It doesn't really matter. It's an anonymous guy posting. I want you to look at this. The story so far that you heard yesterday. The story so far. A loner who lives more than an hour away with less than a week to review the spot and figure out the security zone to escape direction from law enforcement and the Secret Service while carrying a rifle through a crowd of thousands, finds a hole in said security, climbs up to a roof with a perfect view of the stage that was unsecure, has enough time to take 4 to 5 shots at the head of a former president of the United States, with bystanders screaming out the location going, "Hey, there's a dude up there with a rifle." Where? I don't see it. What? What do you mean? And a sniper's nest on Overwatch. Hey, anyone want to buy a bridge? Either he was the luckiest person alive, law enforcement and the Secret Service are the new Keystone Cops, or take your pick. And as always, think as you will. That's what they told you today. You could have watched every single newscast, and that's the story you were told today. And what made it even more incredulous is that this 20-year-old kid flunked out of rifle school. I don't know if you guys heard that. He flunked out of rifle school. They said, "Hey, you're not good enough to shoot a target 50 feet away. So we got other kids that we can help. You got to be gone." And so you end up having to read that and go, a 20-year-old loner who lives more than an hour away, I thought it was 45 minutes, with less than a week to review the spot, understand wind conditions, figure out the security zone to escape detection from law enforcement, carry a ladder with a rifle over his shoulders through a crowd of thousands, find a hole in said security, climb up to the roof with a perfect view of the stage, and then take 4 or 5 shots at the head of the former president with bystanders screaming out his location with snipers watching the whole thing. There's video going around right now where it says they had 42 seconds. They saw the guy taking aim with the rifle. They saw him. They had 42 seconds between the time he cocked where they could have taken him out. There's stories out there that they were giving a stand down order, that they weren't supposed to engage until the other guy shot first, which is friggin' insane. I gotta wait till you take the shot before I can shoot back? Doesn't that take the entire reason for having a sniper away? But that's what we were told today too. Then we were told that there was a cop who went up on the roof and saw the guy and basically either failed to engage or ducked like they did here in Parkland and didn't take the guy out. And then this guy who flunked out of rifle school was able to take 5 shots, kill a man, injure 2 others, and by the grace of God, not kill Donald Trump. That's what we're told. And I'm sure if I said something on this video contrary to it, it would probably get deleted. But they want you to think that's what happened. Okay. I can't even discuss that. I dare when I look at some of the stuff I saw, and I'm like, they're going to want me to talk about this tonight. Some people are going to want me to talk about that tonight. And I'm like, why? At this point, the one true fact that I can say is that Donald Trump survived. Everything else associated with this entire mess is conjecture. And then the Secret Service holds a press conference and won't answer a single question. Not one. Nope, not one. And I was just beside myself going, is this America? Is this really where we are right now? And there was this thing that popped up today, and I'm like, why did nobody know about this. This woman, Susan Crabtree, is from Real Clear Politics at the White House. She writes for The Hill and some other things. This is the problem that my secret sources have cited about the Secret Service. The Secret Service had resources diverted to Jill Biden's event and away from Trump's event, conveniently, because they followed agency protocol applying to Trump as a former president. According to two sources within the Secret Service community, there were also many supplemental agents from different field offices, not Trump's regular detail, providing security at the rally because Trump's regular detail had been overworked, tired, some working 7 days straight, and only 2 counter snipers. But Trump is not just a former president, he is the first in modern history to have run for president again, and he has been the focus of several prosecutions and controversies. Who made the decision to divert resources to Jill Biden's event? Every question just has another question. So he had the second team, the rookies, the JV, regarding the president? Not only who diverted the resources, who knew? Did Trump know that he had the JV team guarding him? Is that why the roof was left unsecured? Because the JV squad didn't know to check it? And then we look into all the DEI stuff about the women that were on the detail. And the women, when they did the cloak, basically when you try to protect your principal, and you got to be big enough to, give him the cloak, she's a foot shorter than him. His head was clear. If somebody was in another position, they had a clear shot momentarily. So at that point, I just said, I went down the rabbit hole. And I continued down the rabbit hole, and I looked at this post, and this is something that Matt Walsh put up, and it says the Dems are in a real conundrum. If Trump is really an evil supervillain dictator who wants to destroy our system of government or whatever, then assassinating him would be morally justified. True. You definitely want to take out that existential threat. But they don't want to justify this, which means they're confessing that everything they said about him for 10 years was nonsense. They either have to openly defend his assassination attempt or admit that they're full of crap. There is no good option. They're screwed. No, they're not. We're screwed. That's where the problem is. We keep accepting the answers that we're fed. And it's time we just stop. Turn off CNN, turn off MSNBC, turn them off. They don't know seemingly any more than you do. Because what they've also told us is that before June 27th, oh my God, I didn't know Dementia Joe had dementia. Oh, I thought he was perfect. Everything was fine. He was sharp as a tack. He was the wisest man. We're being lied to on an epic scale. So that's why I felt today, I'm sorry I took so long to take some of your comments, and I said, you know what? Let's focus on helping people who need their eyes opened and who are willing to understand you've been lied to. If you can't, I remember the first time I spoke to my wife. And I remember it like day in terms of what was going on with the government. I was into the political stuff. She wasn't really into it yet. And she goes, what's this stuff I'm hearing about this guy with this, island resort that people are flying to? She didn't know anything. And I said, honey, don't ask. I said, I love you. We've been together forever. I don't want anything to come between us. But if I answer that question, I don't know what's going to happen between us. And I said, do you really, really want to know? And she said, yeah, I'd like to know. And I felt like Morpheus in the Matrix. And I said, you can take this blue pill, go upstairs to the bedroom, go to sleep, and forget everything. Just forget you even asked. Or you can take this red pill, and I'm going to show you how deep the wormhole goes. True story. It was about 10:30 at night, and I started telling her what was going on and where she could find certain information. And I go, just understand, you're probably going to cry. You're probably going to get angry. You're probably going to get angry and cry. You're probably going to cry and then get angrier. But what I'm going to show you, there's no turning back from. And she got a little nervous. And she goes, I trust you. And I said, okay. Here. Go here. Click here. Click there. Click here. Click there. Let me know if you need any help. But this is something you're going to have to do on your own. I went to bed. 4:30, 4:45. I'm like, where's Robin? And I walked downstairs, and she just looks at me with these eyes. She's got beautiful big blue eyes, and they were just red, and her cheeks were swollen, and she was crying. She said, I've been crying for hours. She goes, I cannot believe this is happening. I cannot believe what I'm seeing with my own eyes. And I said, you've only been looking for a couple of hours. I've been digging into this stuff for quite some time. And she's like, there's more? I'm like, there's a lot more. And I said, when you're ready, you ask me and I'll show you some more. And I said, but right now, let's pray. And we just held each other and prayed. And that's how she got red-pilled. I think there are not enough Americans who understand what taking that red pill means. There's no turning back. Once you get past the facade of what the news has been telling you, and you start looking at things, and it becomes an entire different perspective. And you start hearing news, and you have to be able to discern from crap plus reality. How many of you have seen the movie Sound of Freedom? That'll be a good time. If you have seen the movie Sound of Freedom, let me know. There are so many people out here who have no idea what's going on with kids. None. It is so abhorrent that too many people are afraid to even open their ears and eyes to what? What's going on with kids? Right now, people across the border, we have lost 100,000 kids. Just don't even know where they are. And people are like, what do you mean we don't know where they are? We don't know where they are. Our government can't tell us, nor will they talk about, where 100,000 plus kids just disappeared to. And then every day you'll see an arrest, and they're like, well, we rescued 100 kids here, and we arrested these 10 guys that were doing this, and never hits the first page. Never gets talked about on CNN. Never gets talked about on MSNBC. Never. I mean, never. You have to dig and find out, oh, there was an arrest and they rescued 200 kids and they got them out of where? Where'd they get these kids from? How did these guys get these kids? What were they doing with these kids? And nobody wants to talk about those secrets. Definitely not here. And then after everything we saw yesterday, we find out that Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray, the two people who are looking to put Trump in jail, are going to now investigate what happened yesterday. And that's when I went, click, off with the TV. We're going to, gaslighting will begin. Oh, we've concluded our investigation, and that's it. That's it. Let me take a break here. Let me make sure it's working right. Carla, how you doing? Every single person should watch Sound of Freedom at a minimum. If you're not ready, if you're not at the point yet to take that full red pill, just watch Sound of Freedom. Spend the hour and a half, 90 minutes, and just watch it. Make sure you've got a box of Kleenex next to you, because when you watch that movie, here's what's going to happen. You're gonna look to your significant other and go, "Is this shit real? is this just a fiction? Is this just a made up story? And then when you find out, no, it's real. And then it's been going on for decades. Decades. Hundreds of years. Your news virginity will have finally been taken. That's the best way I can say it. They lost their minds when the Trump administration couldn't account for 300, but now 100,000 missing and nobody says boo. Not a word. Not a word. Same. I was done when I heard who was investigating. Yeah. Yep. Merrick Garland and Christopher Wray will now be investigating the attempted assassination on a guy that they're trying to lock up forever. Makes sense. Not yet, but I seen the documentary, and I know people that seen it all said they cried. You can't not cry, especially this was weird, especially if you're a parent. If you're a parent, you're gonna go, oh my God, I gotta go in there and hug my kids. First of all, I gotta make sure the kids are in the room. Okay, now I gotta put bars on the kids' windows because I couldn't possibly have this. Let me get alarm. Let me call Simply Safe and put all kinds of blinking lights on my kids' rooms. Absolutely. Just got a notification that Joe's going to address the nation at 8 p.m. Yeah, I heard that too. I'm not sure if I can do it. I can put it on. Where are all the children from Maui? Not to be seen. Nope. Randall Hatcher says, I got the red pill, so to speak, when I was born again and with a new spirit. You're definitely going to need the spirit if you start going down that road. Praise the Lord Jesus Christ. You shall know the truth, and the truth will set you free. Some people don't like to be free. It's more comfortable being in the matrix, per se. Think back to the 70s. Yeah, do you ever wonder that? Think back to the 70s when they started putting children's pictures on milk cartons that were missing. And I remember being a kid going, would this kid run away from home or something? And, nobody at school wanted to talk about it. Most parents didn't want to talk about it. And these kids were just gone. Okay. Why do we want to hear from Joe? The only thing I want to hear from Joe is that, hey, I've decided to resign. That basically. Joe is not sincere. Obama paid $60,000. See, now, for those of you who haven't taken that red pill and swallowed it, he's going into something here that would get me in trouble talking. I can't even mention what he's talking about, or Robin, it could be a woman, what she's talking about. But if you start looking at that kind of stuff, it's really going to get deep. Hello, and thank you for the great coverage of this. Yeah, it's okay, let's see. Blah on Poopy Pants. Anything that guy has to say, I don't want to see it. My leader and political role model is safe and sound. Thank you, Lord Jesus. Bingo. They try to denigrate Trump. And I look at Trump and I say to myself, he's a man. I'm not looking for God government. I'm not looking for daddy government. I'm looking for a leader who basically can take office and get out of my way. Make sure this is taken care of. Make sure we're protected. Make sure we're not taxed to death. And the rest, I can take care of myself. That's all I'm looking for in a president. Lies, it's sad they're leaving it in their hands. Absolutely. Jane Shields, Sound of Freedom is on Angel Studio app. Okay, so you got your homework right now. If you really want to know what happened yesterday, start understanding how deep you need to go in this rabbit hole. And it's not good. For this man to have survived that, as I adjust my chair again, you will see stuff and hear stuff that you don't ever want to hear or could even think about. It's that bad. It's really that bad. Let's see. Even Joey has incited violence. Yeah, so I'm going to play a video I put together. I want you guys to take a look at it. Every couple minutes, I'm gonna stop and we'll take some comments. But I'd like you to take a look at this. And as I said, I want to basically be a Trump Angelist. What the hell is a Trump Angelist? A Trump Angelist is talking to people and saying, basically, this is why this guy is important to us. This is why Trump is a so much better option. And right now, I think the time is right. I think there are so many people who saw what happened yesterday and went, oh, that's bullshit. I have so many people like this guy. I have so many people. I could show you 100 of these. I wasn't voting for Trump, but yesterday that all changed. The left claims that his assassination attempt is a stupid reason to vote for Trump, but it's actually the best reason. We must defeat the left by any means necessary. Those words, any means necessary. They are evil and hate America. Once you start looking at things from that perspective, that they're evil, there's nothing good inside of these people. We like to give people the benefit of a doubt, but then you realize they do not have your best interest in heart. They do not have America's best interest in heart. Well, Barry, how can you be so convicted of them? How can you just say they don't have America's best interest in heart? The border? Telling kids that there's not a grandson and a granddaughter, but a grand ZB? You know, our Supreme Court justice can't define the word woman, though she is one. We have people out there trying to take as much of your money as possible to send it somewhere else so it can find its way somewhere, because we have a Department of Defense that lost a couple $1 trillion. That doesn't even get reported on the news. I've shown you guys. Go look. Google how much money has the Department of Defense lost. Trillions. Don't even know where it is. What do you mean? You don't know where trillions of dollars are? Barry, you're just making it up. No, I'm not. Trillions. They want you to be a mushroom. And right now, people's eyes are open because of what happened yesterday and because what they saw in the debate, and they're ripe for it. They are just wandering, going, oh my God, what did I just see? What's going on here? Remember, as I said in my open here, there are a ton of people who haven't seen history. I bet you there's people who don't know who John Wilkes Booth is, who don't understand what this country and what people have done to good people. I guarantee you there are people who don't know who John Wilkes Booth is. If I had a man on a street microphone and went down to the beach and just started asking young people, do you know who John Wilkes Booth is? Is he a host on a game show? Does he have a TikTok? They won't even know. You can ask him who Lee Harvey Oswald is. Who? Lee Harvey Oswald? Couldn't tell you. Wait, you don't know who Lee Harvey Oswald is? No. Do you know who George Orwell is? Because you really need to know who George Orwell is. Oh, no, you've never read any of his books? Never read the book 1984? No. Our kids have been failed. And I'm saying for decades now. We have spent gazillions in these neighborhoods, and these kids don't know anything. Anything. And so now that there's some people who are actually waking up, that we do see people who are asking for information, who say, what exactly is going on? Who is it that is doing all this stuff to us? Let me see if I can find another one here, because they were all over the place today. This is a good one that came out. You guys might like this. Let me pull this one up. Okay, I got it up here. Check this out. All right, Dems, here's how things are going to go from now on. Keep your mouth shut and stay out of the way while we clean up your mess. The days of entertaining your BS are over. Slip quietly into irrelevance while you still have the chance, because soon you will all be remembered in the same breath as those guys. You all will be ashamed you ever supported this evil, and you will deny that you ever voted Democrat. 3 times before the cock crows. You won't be able to walk the streets. You have been blinded by your hatred. You can't even see what you've become because you don't care what you've become. No measure is too extreme, no price too heavy. The ends always justify the means. You have turned into the monsters you claim to fight. All the principles you claim to have were abandoned in pursuit of eliminating Trump. And key word there is eliminating. We tried to reason with you. We tried to wake you up. We tried to handle it diplomatically and democratically. You refused. You chose war. Don't act surprised when we finish what you started. That, I don't even know who this guy is. That's my feeling today. I'm done. I'm done, completely done. And again, I just want to basically interact with people who actually give a crap about this country. Please don't forget about other elections in your state and county. We need House, Senate, mayors, governors, absolutely. Read in the book John 11, 46, 49, and 12, 11 to understand this. You know what? I don't have that kind of biblical knowledge, but let's go ahead and just look at John 11, 46. Let's see if we can't pull it up here. Okay. Read full chapter. All right, so let's go ahead and take a look at John 11, 46 to 49. So let's go down here to 46 to 49, and it says, 46. But some of them went to the Pharisees and told them what Jesus had done. Then the chief priests and the Pharisees called a meeting of the Sanhedrin. What are we accomplishing? They asked. Here is this man performing many signs. If we let him go like this, everyone will believe in him. And then the Romans will come and take both away him, our temple, and our nation. Then one of them, named Caiaphas, who was high priest that year, spoke up. You know nothing at all. You do not realize that it is better for you that one man die for the people than the whole nation perish. Perfect. Thank you for that. Thank you for saying that. And very good. Very good. I almost called you Diana Taurasi, the basketball player. Wow, that's inspiring. Yeah. All right, so let me get into this video. It's rather long, and then I'm going to play it, and I want you to see some of the things that I saw today that of people who opened their eyes and realized what they saw today was basically at this point life-changing. And then we'll stop every couple minutes and we'll come back to it. So let me know what you think about this.
There's not a lot of guys like this, not a lot of human beings like this, with that kind of strength and resilience and ability literally under fire to stand up and say, fight. It was inspirational. I believe President Trump is going to win in November. I've previously disclosed he will have my vote. And I am now one of the people who will walk over broken glass to make sure I cast my vote. And I know I won't be alone. I think now you are going to see formerly blue states rush to pull the lever for Donald Trump. I think my fellow Americans will understand how important it is to send a message loud and clear to the people who want to change our country that we won't allow it. That we are not going to lose sight of one another.
Hey man, I don't really care how much you love or hate President Donald Trump. Now is not the time to play politics. Now is the time to pray for Donald Trump, his family, and the families of those who lost someone in the shooting. We got people out here who are so focused on the fact that they think that this assassination attempt was staged that they are forgetting about the fact that someone died. I mean, do I have a problem with the fact that the shooter was 150 yards away and the Secret Service and the police couldn't stop him? You bet your sweet heart parts I do. There is no way in hell this should have happened. Whoever was in charge of the police that day should be gone. Whoever was in charge of the Secret Service should be gone. Because whether you like Donald Trump or not, every life is worth living. No one should be subjected to nearly losing their life at a presidential rally. So again, I tell you guys, this is not the time to play politics and pick sides. Let's pray for Donald Trump. Let's pray for the ones who lost a loved one. And pray for America because we're in dark times.
In March of 19... Okay, before I get into me, that's me talking. Those two people, you may know at least one of them. The first one was Megyn Kelly, of course. Second one was... Robert Griffin III, who was a football player in the NFL, who's now an ESPN analyst. And one of the things that Megyn Kelly said that really struck me, and I asked my wife, I go, what did you say? And with everything we saw yesterday, and when we saw Trump do this, when we saw him fight, I thought he said something else. She said, I saw a man. She goes, it is seldom these days that we actually see men, strong men. She goes, that's what I was attracted to you. I wanted to feel comfortable. I wanted to feel protected. I wanted to know that you were going to be my rock. She goes, we don't see that anymore. The vitality that this man had just dodged death and wasn't squeamish and said, fight. She said, women are going to move to him in droves. Guys want to follow alpha men. They don't want girly men. They don't want soy boys. That's why these people are having so much problem dating these days. That's why they have these slide right and slide left apps, because they can't engage in relationships, because they don't have what women actually want. You know what I'm talking about. I'm sure you do. And so that's what Megyn Kelly was talking about. And then Robert Griffin III, who's a football player, is like, wait a second, man, this is crazy. And I had looked back in some of his stuff and saw what he had said, and he hadn't talked too much about politics. And I'm like, his eyes got open. Red pill. That red pill just got swallowed. And so this is what this video is about. It's about red pills. Let's go back. Ronald Reagan survived an assassination attempt. That would-be assassin got 6 shots off in 1.7 seconds. Those shots nearly took the life of Ronald Reagan, and it changed the trajectory of his presidency. What transpired after his assassination attempt has become presidential and political legend. The courage that Reagan showed after his assassination attempt cemented his relationship with the American people, and it also cemented his political standing. The parallels between what happened with Reagan in 1981 and what happened with Donald Trump yesterday are striking. As Reagan was being wheeled into surgery, he joked with his attending surgeon and said, I hope you're a Republican. Dr. Joseph Giordano, who was actually a liberal Democrat, smiled and joked back and said, today, Mr. Reagan, we are all Republicans. From that point on, Ronald Reagan became politically untouchable. He became almost like a mythical figure. Yesterday, July 13th at 6:11 p.m., Donald Trump may himself have become Reagan-esque. But unlike the aftermath of the Reagan assassination attempt, there is no way we can confuse anything politically in America today. There's no way that anybody can assume we're all Republicans today. Actually, far from it. However, the result of the coming election may indeed be very similar. You see, many Americans who might not have been voting for Trump before this crazy assassination attempt seem like they will be voting for Trump in November.
Hey, I would like to thank the powers who thought that would be a great idea to try to harm President Trump. We'd like to thank you for the House, the Senate, and the presidency. And boy, are the numbers gonna be earth-shattering. Democrats are done. You fuckers are never gonna be in power again. Your great-great-great-great-grandchildren ain't gonna fucking be in power. Peace!
He's absolutely right. He's absolutely right. With what I've been seeing today, in the aftermath of an assassination attempt on Donald Trump, it seems that something has definitely flipped. The entire mood of the country is now shifting towards Donald Trump being president in November. Over the next couple of minutes, I'm going to show you some of the videos I've been able to put together that basically underscore that sentiment.
No bad president has ever been assassinated. All the presidents that did harm to our country all did fine. They lived their lives. All the ones that did good for the country, they've had attempts on their lives.
For the last hour, I've been watching the videos of the attempted assassination of President Trump. Now, I've gone through a wide range of emotions because this hit me like a freight train. And like many of you, I'm sure we all agree we're angry. But maybe you should be feeling righteous indignation.
That's what I said yesterday. I said you need to have that kind of righteous indignation, that righteous anger, the type of anger that Jesus had in the temple when he basically went up to the money changer. It is okay to be angry, not to strike out, but make sure that you understand where we are right now.
You see, when they put this man through everything they did, they tried to use corrupt courts to take away his money, tried to put him in prison, discredit among the people he knew his whole life. Well, they didn't just try to assassinate a president. They assaulted the rights of every American that believes in him and was going to elect him president. So the bottom line is, you were attacked as well. But
yes, don't forget that. He has said it many times. They're coming after him because he stands in the way of us. So understand, you indeed were attacked as well.
Here's the point I want to make. If we look back to the assassination of John F. Kennedy or Robert F. Kennedy, it's always the same thing. You see, you got Secret Service protection on a man that's very popular. How'd that guy get on the roof without a little help? And of course, the assassin always has to die so he can't rat on the people who set him up. But here's the point I want to make. You made a decision that it was okay for you to take a man's life. So when the retribution comes, do not ask for any mercy, because I hope whoever finds...
Have I not said that? We're not going to take any prisoners, and they shouldn't expect any mercy.
...you ends up putting a level of violence on you that will never be spoken about in polite company again for the rest of history. You made your choice to take the gloves off, so don't cry when you get what you deserve, because you tried to f*** with him, a man, and every other person that was going to vote for him.
Real Barry here again, not from the tape, but actually live. And I'm going to go through a bunch of these different people talking. Black, white, male, female, and you're going to see the same common thread. People who saw what happened yesterday and went, this is bullshit. This is crap. I'm not going to stand for that. I wanted to take this comment. It's from Mayor. Mayor says she just signed up for Angel Studios, Sound of Freedom. Thank you. Like I'm telling you, get the hankies, get a drink, sit down, pray, and then watch that movie. It is absolutely crazy. Somebody asked me, Demon of Cybertron, did you record your live stream from yesterday? Me and my wife were wondering if you did, because you should preserve that moment for future historical studies. The moment felt so unreal. Yes, I did. I had to sit there and wait for it to basically render on YouTube, and I hit the download button as soon as it came available. So I do have that where it happened live in front of us. I did bounce that one GGI lady that was in here talking crap. But Trump just spoke on the situation. Oh, great. I got to go find that. I'll get that up tomorrow. Carrie Coleman says, I'm truly enjoying your show. Thank you very, very much. I'm going to continue now and let you hear more of what some of these people are waking up to.
Breaking news, Trump was just shot at a rally in Pennsylvania. Now, I'm on the road right now, so I don't have all the details, but I'm hearing that he was grazed in the ear, and I'm hearing that it was multiple people that got shot, but at least they got the shooter. Now, when I heard this, people were sending me tweets to my phone of people making fun of Trump getting shot. This is the tolerant left. Y'all have the fucking nerve to call MAGA and Trump supporters extremists, and y'all doing shit like this, then turn around and making fun of the situation. Someone getting hurt. But I tell you one thing, Trump today proved that he's in him. You understand me? Trump has showed that he is him.
They have awoken a giant. And I'm talking about the people, the American people who see this. He is becoming legend. That fist pump after being shot was all people had to see. It made so much of a difference. It showed people this is what a leader is supposed to be.
That's my fucking president, y'all. That is my president, standing strong. It's okay, though. I promise y'all his poll numbers is about to go up even higher. This situation right here just solidified his victory. Y'all don't even know. So y'all could key, ha, 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 laugh all day on the goddamn internet. Trump won. Prayers for you, Donald Trump. We love you, we support you, and we are here for you. That's a strong man right there.
What's up, guys? CJ Pearson here. My 66-year-old grandmother, my 66-year-old black grandmother, who has never voted for a Republican president in her entire life, just told me she's voting for Donald Trump in November. Today was the tipping point for her. She said, and I quote, "The Democrats have lost their damn minds."
Absolutely. People who've been through the assassination era, when I call it the assassination era, I'm talking from 1963 to like 1968, when people saw John F. Kennedy get killed, when they saw Martin Luther King Jr. get killed, when they saw Robert Kennedy Jr. get killed. They all lived through this. They know at this point, well, okay, we're back. You just took me back to 1968. You took me back to 1963. I know what you're all about.
He's absolutely correct. She's absolutely right. Guys, they tried to kill that man today.
Yep.
But inadvertently, what they do not realize is they only made him stronger.
I, however, believe they do realize. I think in their minds, they're thinking, what have we done? Even if they're going to say they weren't involved, it doesn't really matter at this point. They were still complicit. By calling this man Adolf and calling him an existential threat and a threat to democracy, they knew what they were doing. They didn't have to pull the trigger. Just by saying those things, they are complicit. And all of you in the media who repeated those things, Jake Tapper, you are complicit as well. Everybody now knows what you guys have been saying, and you've been saying it for some time, and we've had it.
Folks, I was watching this rally just now, and with my two eyes, I just saw these people try to take President Trump out. I'm praying for President Trump and his family right now. These people mean business. These people want this man dead. The Democrat Party and the deep state will stop at anything to get rid of Trump. And they tried today. Hopefully they were unsuccessful because he looked like he's okay. But I'm going to tell you guys right now, you guys have opened up a can of worms that you didn't want opened up.
Yep.
I think a lot of patriots saw what happened today, and you're going to really pay the price politically for this ignorance what you just did today.
So at the end there, obviously I had to bleep it because the guy had a couple of expletives that you probably could figure out. When I'm telling you people have had it, I'm talking a lot of black people as well. Not just white people, a ton of black people. Remember that ratio I told you that in the past the Democrats have gotten 89, 90% of the black vote in order to win? And then when Dementia Joe won last time, he got like 90% of the black vote, and he only won by 4 or 5 points. And now they're saying, well, it looks like he's only going to get 70. Well, that 30% can't be made up. And now he's chipping in to even that 30%. It may go up to 40% by the time the election comes. There's no mathematical chance for Dementia Joe to win at this point. So, back again, this is me again live. There's a bunch of these I want to go through because they're so compelling, and they're women, as I said, and they're men, and it's just, this is what I think we need to be doing as Trump supporters, opening our arms, our eyes, our lips, talking to people who want more information, people who say, you know what, I feel like I've been lied to. Where do I go? And it's funny, I mentioned earlier today in this show, I mentioned Sound of Freedom, and I didn't realize how many people haven't seen that movie. That's all it takes, people. That's all you have to do is give somebody some information. Hey, you know about these, 100,000 kids that are missing? You know about that guy who had that island that somehow ended up getting killed in jail? Do you know what's been going on for decades? And just watch their face. Like, what do you mean? Well, here's some information for you to follow. And just let people get it on their own. They will value you. They're not getting it from the media, and they will say, hey, Shirley, thank you very much for telling me that. I did not know that. What else do I not know? And there's your opening. And there's a Trump supporter. It's really that simple. I've done it with my sisters. I've done it with people at work. And I would just mention something like I mentioned. Oops! What did I just do there? Let me get back. As I just mentioned with you guys about the $2 trillion that the government lost. And I'm like, somebody's going to see that and they're going to Google it. They're going to be like, what do you mean we lost $2 trillion? And literally, you just go on here and lost $1 trillion. I'm just using the terms lost $1 trillion defense. Let me see what pops up. Boom. Where is it? Boom. This is from just one story on the Colorado Newsline. The Pentagon can't pass an audit. And I put this up because I'm not looking to look at Fox and I'm not looking at CNN. Let's just look at some independent. The conservative lawmakers calling for cuts to start with the agency that can't account for $1.9 trillion. Can't account for it. It's really that simple. And at that point, you see people, when you start giving them these breadcrumbs, and go look for it yourself. Hey, what do you mean we can't account for $2 trillion? Nope, don't even know where it is. Which is funny because those of you who pay taxes, which I'm sure it's a big part of you, a number of you guys who are doing that, probably say to yourself, what do you mean if I lost, IRS comes knocking on the door? So where's your money? Well, I had a $50K, but I lost it. I don't know where it is. See where that would get you. But you can't say that, but they can. They can just say, I lost it. How many of you know about this bridge that they built up in Gaza? It was a dock to get supplies into, where is it? Gaza. They were going to bring ships in and dump supplies into the refugees. You guys know about that? Okay, so they spent $230 million on a dock. $230 million of your money on a dock. It sank. It's gone. It no longer exists. $230 million gone of your money. Nobody wants to talk about that. Don't bring it up on the news. That's what I'm saying. So the more we can begin talking to people and talk to them about things that they probably haven't heard of, that they can then go verify on their own, that's how we're going to convince more and more people. Paulina Mayer says, yep, they lost it. And then Dennis Patton said it floated away. And it's funny because you guys know, but there's probably people in this chat are like, what is he talking about? And they may reach out to you because I'm here. I can't see every single message that comes in. And they may say, hey, Dennis, what do you mean a $230 million dock floated away? I didn't hear that. And there's your opportunity. It's really that simple. And so when I like to talk to people, and I think we're going to make the biggest ground moving forward, is actually finding people who now want the truth. And right now it's sensitive because they saw it. Everybody saw what happened yesterday. And there's a group of people out there trying to pull the wool over people's eyes that it didn't happen. It actually didn't happen. Let's continue.
In 2017, I decided to come out in support of Donald Trump and MAGA. Since that time, over the years, I've sometimes wondered if I made the right decision because of the backlash and nonstop trolling that I receive online. However, after watching Donald Trump stand up in front of millions of people with a visible wound on his face and tell America to keep fighting for what is right, I knew that I had made the right decision and I've been on the right side of history.
I spoke to my wife today and I said, what did that image mean to you? She's like, obviously, men love it because it shows fearless. It shows somebody who's willing to be a leader. And she says from a female perspective, it showed an alpha male. This is a guy bleeding from his ear, just had somebody take shots at him, and he's like, fight. And he's telling you. So you're going to see a real big shift from women to Donald Trump, from weakness to strength. You can't even look at these guys as any sort of parallel anymore. You got this guy who can barely talk, who can barely walk, and you got this guy over here who just survived an assassination attempt, is bleeding, is being dragged off the stage by Secret Service people, and he's going like this. I'm not going out like that. And then at the end of this video, I'm going to show you something else that even further amplifies the alpha male in Donald Trump. It was simply amazing.
This whole time. It's obvious to me that Democrats do not care about black people, they do not care about the poor, and they do not care about innocent human life, which is something that Donald Trump does care about and he's always championed. I am more awakened now than I have ever been before, even so more than in 2017. And I will continue to support Donald Trump. Donald Trump, President Donald Trump, God bless you.
That's how it is. Hey, listen, I caught so much crap following Donald Trump. People were trying to push me away from Donald Trump. She said, I can attest to that. I can relate. As a black person following Donald Trump and wanting to vote for him, people completely chastise you and give you a hard time. Oh, he's no good for you. And then you guys all remember when he came out and said, what the hell you have to lose? And that one simple question, when you asked people that question, it would tie them in knots. It's like, what do you have to lose? What do you mean? What is it that is going to cause you so many problems by voting for Donald Trump? Where are you now, and where do you want to be? So listen to what he's saying and see if that's the roadmap to where you want to be. As a black person, white person, Asian person, if you want to, and you say to yourself, I'd like to be able to buy a house in 3 years, 4 years, 5 years. Okay, which of these two candidates is going to allow you the pathway to get there? A guy over here who wants to raise taxes and keep interest rates high where you're never going to save a down payment? You're never going to buy the house that you want. You're going to have to go live in a hood someplace. Who's telling you that his plan for 2030, they keep talking about 2025, Project 2025. They don't talk to you about the 2030 plan. You know, you'll own nothing and be happy and eat the friggin' bugs. Go look that up. Again, it's something people are like, what do you mean, Barry? What do you mean you'll own nothing and be happy and eat the friggin' bugs? I don't know. Look it up. Just Google, you'll own nothing and be happy, and see where you're headed under the Biden type regime. It's that simple. Open your eyes. So if you want, and you're saying, well, I'd like to get married. Oh my God. First of all, if you'd like to get married, welcome to the Republican Party. That right there is enough for us to say, you're on the right track. You want to have kids too? Yeah. You want to have boys or girls? Yes. The answer would be yes, boy or girl. So you don't want a ZB? No. You want a boy or a girl? Yeah. Welcome to the Republican Party. You understand what I'm saying right now? So if you want to get married, you and your wife want to have kids and buy a house in 3 years, which candidate is going to have the best pathway forward for you to do that? Well, the candidate that's going to allow you to do that is where you can keep more of your money, where you will pay less taxes. Oh, I didn't think of that. Yeah, right. What are you paying right now? Even if you're in a lower level job, you're probably paying 28 to 30% of your income in taxes. What if it went to 40%? Would you like that? No, I wouldn't be able to save any money. You got it now? How much do you pay for gas every week or month? Would you like cheaper gas? Would that allow you to save more money for a house? Yeah. Well, you're going to have to go to this guy on the right side. Would you like to have cheaper groceries? Would that allow you to help with your family budget to feed the kids that you want to raise? Yeah. Well, that's over here. If you just talk to people and say, hey, how you doing? I understand you just got a job at XYZ company, and that XYZ company's got this DEI thing. And are you down with that? Yeah, I think it's fantastic, man. Yeah, I'm down with the DEI. So what's it doing for you? Did I throw a curveball at you? What is the DEI program doing for your best interest? They don't want to talk about that. They want to put you in some sort of communal collective. I want to talk to you. What do you want to do? Would you like to save money, buy a car, get a promotion, get a better job? Or you want to be promoted because you're black And that's it? That's the only reason? That's the value that you put upon yourself? You're not worth more because you can actually do something? And if some people ask, yeah, I'm like, well, what would happen if they did that in the NFL or the NBA? And they said, you know what, this league is too black. There are too many black players in the NBA. So we're going to have to bring in some 5'6", 5'7", slow-ass white guys because we want to balance things out. Well, this guy can't shoot for shit. It doesn't matter. And he's slow. I didn't say anything about that. He's qualified. He's white. We're going to mix it up in here. And just watch their faces. Because they don't even think about it. But LeBron and all these guys are 6'7", 6'8". They run up, down, or slam. Yeah, but we need to put some white people on these teams. So we're going to just bring in Biff. Biff's 5'7". Can't jump 2 inches. Vertical of about 1. Can't shoot. But we're gonna take some of his money and give it to Biff. Why? Because he's white. Yeah, good luck with that. Open people's eyes.
Hey, Sleepy Joe and the Democrats, what y'all got going on? If you can't beat them unalive, they just trying to take out Trump. Literally, I just sit there and watched it live. My man grabbed his neck like this. Yo, Secret Service, get out. I said, what is this, a movie? Is this a script? I don't know what's going on. All I know is one thing for sure, two things for certain. Somebody done called a hit, and we know what's going on.
We do. We all know what's really going on.
Y'all know that man finna win the election. Y'all know Sleepy Joe almost out of here. Y'all know what's going on. Did y'all just see that on TV? Did y'all just see that? History was just right before them folks just took a shot at Trump. And then my man got up and threw black power up like this here. My man did this here. My man threw up black power like this.
I'm not sure if most of you people who are white are watching this, but that struck a chord throughout the black community. I got calls and texts last night that I never heard from some people. I'm like, oh my God, the dude's gangster. The dude is seriously gangster. It really, really embodied him with the black community.
I know it was black power. It wasn't no. My man threw up black power with blood leaking down it. Hey, Trump, I'm gonna go and let you know now. You just won the election, my guy. You listen to me. These folks just seen the Patriot. Then you got up like you grew up in the hood.
He got up like he grew up in the hood. Oh my God. I'm sorry, I shouldn't even be laughing. This is such a serious matter. But I hope you're seeing what's going on with the black community.
You got up and took that hit like a man. Them folks done grazed your ear. Them folks done hit you like this here. You done went down. Then you got up and hit them like this here. You just won the election. Sleepy Joe is over. You gonna go take your nap for however long you want to take it. It's done.
What's so funny today is, I don't know if a lot of you guys may not be on X, which is understandable because it's a weird place to go if you're not used to it. But 50 Cent, 50 Cent, the rapper turned businessman, he had a song called Many Men. I would love to play it here, but if I played it here, YouTube would shut it down for copyright reasons. But I think I posted it on X myself under my profile. And Many Men was about a guy who actually, many men try to come at me. And he actually said, he posted something. There was a picture that he put behind the stage at one of his shows, just like Tom McDonald, but you know who 50 Cent is. And 50 Cent was like, that was gangster, man. That was seriously gangster. 50 Cent, he had been shot, so he understands what that means. But that's what's going on. And a lot of people saw 50 Cent post that, and they're like, what? I think what he said was, 50 Cent said, I think we're all in trouble right now. Yeah, you're right. It's time. We're all in trouble right now. But 50 Cent, go to my profile or Google Many Men and listen to this. It's a rap song. It's hard. It's hardcore. There's a video on it on YouTube, which is really, really interesting when you start putting the Trump parallel to it. Many men want to take me out. And so with him talking about it, and then I saw people like different football players, Sauce Gardner, who is a cornerback for the New York Jets. And he put something out there, goes, that's the next president right there, man. That's the president. And he caught all kinds of crap. Where he had to explain himself because of what he actually posted. That's how bad it is. What do you mean? You're black. What do you mean? That's my president. That's my president. I'm sorry if you got a problem with it. That's it. AB, he posted something. And I can't even say the words he used because YouTube doesn't like it, but it's the N word. He goes, that N hard. That's one hard N. So he was calling Trump, an N-word. It was too much. It was funny as heck. Go on and take your nap, sleep for as long as you want to. It's done. It's absolutely done. Just imagine this. At this point, what message can any of the Democrats actually provide? If you have to pull back on your insane rhetoric, if you can't call him Adolf, if you can't call him an existential threat to democracy, if you can't call him a dictator, and you pull all that messaging and say, I can't do that because they had to pull all of their ads because that's what they were going to do. Now what do you have? What do you have for messaging? Because you can't talk about anything that you've done. All you can talk about is specifically what you're trying to paint Trump as. But now that's been taken away from you because of some stupid idiot that you guys basically incited. Now what you got? It's over.
You left-wing nut jobs. You can't win on merit, so you gotta do what? Try and kill the man? Really? It's a good thing y'all don't know how to shoot. It's a good thing y'all are piss poor at defense, self-defense, offense, all of it. Well, the only thing you proved is this, that you guys are the ones that are prone to violent actions.
Exactly. They try to paint the Republicans and conservatives as being what? Dangerous to society, domestic terrorists. But if you think back, as this man is going to point out, who has been doing all the terrorizing? Who has been doing everything for like the last 4 or 5 years? They have.
Every time you lose, violence. But we're the extremists, right?
Right.
We're the ones that are extremists. That's kind of odd. That's really odd. Last time I checked, when the man you took a shot at today won in 16, y'all burned and rioted. When you don't get your way, you burn and riot.
George Floyd.
When something happens to one of your felons, you burn and riot. He got indicted 34 times, and we didn't do a single bit of looting riot.
Not one riot. Nothing burned. We obeyed the law. You guys do that crap. You do the protest. You do the peaceful protesting while you're burning stuff down. The people know. The media, you're done. We all know your games at this point. What you're not in tune with are actual people like this gentleman and the rest of the people in this video.
Or burning. This is certainly proof that you guys are the violent ones. And if there is anyone capable of local terroristic acts, it's you people.
And Joe, what was your state of mind coming into this rally today? What were you?
Okay, you got to hear this guy. It's a very brief clip, and it's so brief, but it hits so hard. Listen to these people and what they say. I am convinced that the woman from MSNBC had no clue what these people were about to say here. It's stunning.
Affecting and what are you feeling now?
Love this. Listen to what this man says. You could almost feel this chick from MSNBC. You could almost feel her blood run cold.
We all experienced a day that none of us thought would come.
Well, I was excited. I mean, this is our second rally, and the first one, Trump is very energetic when he comes to these, but now I want to vote for him more than ever, just to send a message to these people. They can't stop him.
What? Why would you want to vote for him more than ever at this point? Why is that? To send a message to you people. You can't stop us. That's exactly what he just said. We're going to send a message and let you know you've tried over and over. You can't stop him, and you definitely can't stop us. That is the message moving forward. Trump has been saying it. We all know it.
So President Trump just got shot. And as someone who voted against Trump in both 2016 and 2020, this is a cause for deep reflection by me. Mm-hmm. And my question is, have we been told the truth at any point over the last 8 years about who...
You woken people up. This was a Biden voter. This was an Obama voter. And people are now waking up and going, this whole deep state crap, you guys been lying to us. Hey, Mr. Media, Jake Tapper, all the rest of you guys on CNN and MSNBC, Joy Reid talking about you. They know now. People now know they have been lied to.
Trump is and what's actually going on here. A lot of people who are pro-Trump have been saying that this is the playbook of they, whether it's a deep state or, some shadowy interest in the government. First, they try to cancel you. So they say shit about your character. They say things that can't actually be proven. They take quotes from you that make you basically look bad. The second thing that they try to do is they try to convict you of something. In this case, trumped up charges about you paying legal expenses to a porn star for her to not say that you had sex with her. It's like, morals aside, is that really a big deal enough to convict someone? And then the third thing that they try to do is they try to kill you. And that's just what happened with Trump. And actually, I've been updating my view on Trump recently, and I started going back to some of the things that I was told that he said, and some of them he literally did not say.
See, I wish more people would do that. This gentleman took the time to go back and say, well, I heard this in the media. Did he really say that? And then he took the time to go look and no, he never said that. That was... Okay, Real Barry back again for a second here. When Dementia Joe goes on his stump speeches, it seems like because he's demented, he can only remember certain things. And so many of these things have been debunked. And he'll get up there and he'll talk about the fine people hoax. And he'll talk about, suckers and losers. And he'll just go on and on with these things. And I look for someone to go, that he didn't say that. He didn't say it. Oh, he said he'll be a dictator on day one. Oh, the lemons behind him clap as if that's true. And I think to myself, when I look at a Dementia Joe speech, and I'm like, what is wrong with these idiots? How is it possible that an entire group of people listen to lies and don't have the wherewithal to go even look up what he said? Suckers and losers. Didn't happen. This guy's going to talk about the fine people. Gonna go look up dictator from day one. And I almost feel like some people are scared to learn. I almost think they think if I actually go look this up, I'm going to feel embarrassed because it means I've been lied to and I've accepted these lies. But understand, the Democrat Party expects that. They want you to never question anything. It's so funny to me because so often they say that those of us who are Trump supporters are in a cult. And I realize, and what some people should realize, is that even in this chat, there are more people thinking for themselves, like this gentleman on video who said, wait a second, have I been lied to? Should I go check some of this shit out? Cult members don't do that. This guy is now a Trump supporter because of the fact he went to check some stuff out. Everybody knows that they've been saying that Trump lied 75 times in the debate. Has anyone said what those lies are? No, they just say that so that the people on the left just suck it up and swallow it and listen to their BS. They don't care because they know the people that they've bamboozled for decades are still going to be bamboozled because they get reinforced in the media. It is such a mind F. I mean, it's seriously a mind F because he'll say something and then they'll go ahead and repeat it on the news, and then it'll get repeated by the politician. Nancy Pelosi, okay, here's something else for you. Okay, you ready? Go look up the term wrap-up smear. A wrap-up smear is something the Democratic Party has been doing forever. Here's what a wrap-up smear is. I heard that you did this. I heard that Trump did that. And so then someone in the media will type that and put out an article. It's apparent that Trump did this in 1979. Now that it's in the media, it gets put into the stump speeches. Well, in 1979, what's your source? My source is the New York Times. But the New York Times got their information from you to begin with. I know, that's how we do it. We tell them something, they print it, then we can keep saying it. And we can say, 51 economists say that Trump's tax program is going to bankrupt the company. Who are these 51 economists? Are they the same 51 intelligence people who said it was, Russian dossier? And it just gets perpetuated because nobody is ambitious, and I shouldn't say nobody because I know you are. Most people are not ambitious enough to go look it up. So let me continue with this gentleman. And once you start doing that and uncovering lie after lie after lie that even Dementia Joe is still saying as recently as yesterday, it makes everything they say suspect.
Like, for example, you remember when we were told that he said of white supremacists and other racists in a rally that he said that they were good people? It's not true. If you actually watch the whole clip, and I'll share a link to the clip here, you can see that he's clearly saying there were other people at the rally who are good people.
You're calling the alt-left and white supremacists on the same moral plane.
I'm not putting anybody on a moral plane. What I'm saying is this. You had a group on one side and you had a group on the other, and they came at each other with clubs, and it was vicious and it was horrible.
So this is a time where it's really hard to know what to believe, but sometimes when we hear things are conspiracy, maybe it's time to listen because maybe it's not.
I posted that today on Twitter. There are no conspiracy theories anymore. There are just facts left to be uncovered for people to actually do the research and realize it. There are no longer any conspiracy theory. Everything we've seen over the last 8 years, and I can't even talk about some of this stuff if you know what I mean, Fauci. You've said things and you told all of us that we were conspiracy theorists. And then slowly but surely things come out. And we heard about the 2020 election. Hey, you can't even talk about that. Oh no, nobody can question that. And then slowly but surely information comes out. They've learned how to play the waiting game. They know they can say anything today, and it's going to take years before anybody finds out the actual truth. 4 years ago, we were all conspiracy theorists. Today, it's like, yeah, you lied. It took people a while to find out, but you lied. It's not a conspiracy theory. You did some things in the last election that people are now finding out about. It's no longer a conspiracy theory. There was stuff from, that thing, the jabs and all that kind of stuff. And we were told, basically, you do that jab and everything will be fine. And now people are succumbing. There are no conspiracy theories. It just takes time for people like that gentleman to go find out the actual facts. Snopes has said a couple times now, years later, that what Trump said has been misconstrued. People call this conspiracy theory. Now the fact checkers have actually done some fact checking and find out, it wasn't a lie. It wasn't a conspiracy. That really happened. It's just time that it takes to get through all of that data and reveal the truth.
Yo, y'all f***ed up, right? You f***ed up, right? I can't believe y'all took a shot at Trump, and you don't think this man ain't gonna turn up on y'all? He told y'all he clearly believes in getting revenge. Y'all took a shot, and you don't think he knows where that came from? Yo, it's about to get hot. It ain't even August yet. Y'all f***ed up. Y'all don't f***ed up this time.
People know. People understand, especially people who are streetwise. And I don't care what color you are. You don't have to be a certain color to be streetwise. And people are looking at this and going, this kid, 20 years old, just happened to find his way onto this roof and take a shot at the president. And they just happened, and this just happened. There's too many coincidences. There are no coincidences. There are no conspiracy theories. It's just information you don't know yet. That's what people have to begin realizing, because there's just too many of them. And then you're told you can't talk about it. See, that's where you really have to begin looking, is because under here, in the guidance I have been given and told you can't talk about this thing or that thing, it just makes me want to look more. I may not be able to say the words, but I'm like, well, if I can't talk about this, why are you worried about me talking about it? Why are you afraid that I might know about this X, Y, and Z? Yesterday we talked about music, and while we were waiting for Trump to show up, we talked about music, and I talked about Chester Bennington, the former lead singer from Linkin Park, who committed suicide. And I go look up, check out some pictures on why they're saying that maybe he committed suicide. And people are like, oh my God, I didn't know that. Yeah, they don't tell you about these things. You just have to learn them. And then you realize, I've been lied to. And if you're not lied to, straight up, then it's the lie of omission. I watch the news every single day because I have to get my ideas and where I'm going to talk about and where I'm going to get things from. I learned that from Rush Limbaugh, obviously. And I start looking, I'm like, all the things in the world that are going on, and I'll turn on Fox in the morning and they're talking about a barbecue. Hey, we're going to have the big barbecue out here. I'm like, you're actually taking time away from stuff people need to know about, and you're talking about a barbecue. A barbecue. And I'll go on CNN and they'll be talking about stuff in regards to basically furthering the propaganda, and nobody ever asks the question. Oh, by the way, something good happened today. You know that one person on MSNBC who always running her mouth about Trump is this and Trump is that and Trump is like the guy from Germany. I can't say you know what I'm talking about. And she just, I featured her in a few of my videos. You know who Joy Reid is, right? Joy Reid just shut off her Twitter account. It wasn't just me. I thought for a second, man, did she ban me? Nope, done. I'm done. I'm not even going to tweet anymore. A major news network host shut down her Twitter account. You guys don't find that odd? You don't find it odd that the person who was putting up tweets and videos and everything about Project 2025 and Trump this and Trump that and this and the other thing and blah, 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 shut down her Twitter feed today? Why would a news person shut down her Twitter feed? Let me see if I can show you what I mean. And I was stunned when I saw this. And people were talking about, she just, after what happened yesterday and everything she's been spewing, she shut it down. And here, let me show you. This is Joy Reid. Boom, she shut it down, locked it down. Why are you being a coward, Joy? Before yesterday, you would say anything about Trump. You would say anything about Trump supporters. You would talk about Project 2025 like it was going out that we were just being completely evil. You would get on MSNBC with that guy with the funky hair and you'd spew all kinds of stuff. None of it true. Yet today, you lock down your Twitter feed. Why? Why would, out of the blue, after an assassination attempt on a guy you've been writing for basically years, calling him Adolf and everything else, why today did you decide, you know what, I'm going to lock down my Twitter feed? Because now people know you're complicit. Now people turned around and went, we need to go after this woman. Let's start hitting her up with some messages. And instead of being a woman, I can't even know if I can use that word, but I think you still identify as a woman. Instead of being a woman, standing up and saying, I'm a strong black woman. I believe everything that I post. You tucked tail and ran away. You hid. You're done. Your credibility is shot. If anybody watches your show anymore, they are buffoons. You just showed everybody, every single person in the country, that you're full of it. You've been saying all this stuff, somebody takes a shot at the guy, and you're like, whoop, I'm done. That's it. I can't go back out there and tweet because these people are going to roast me. So right now, you have a 7 o'clock show that comes on, 7 o'clock show that comes on MSNBC, and you no longer are going to be tweeting. MSNBC, you need to get rid of her. You need to actually make an announcement on Monday and say Joy Reid is no longer with this network. I myself probably have 5 videos where she's been inciting things. It's not hard to find all the stuff that Joy Reid has been saying, and now all of a sudden she tucks tail and runs away. I'm not one who say I'm never wrong, but if somebody called me on something, I'd be like, you know what? I had the wrong information. I made a mistake. Because she can't admit that she made a mistake. The people that follow her can't admit that they make mistakes. It's not something that liberals do. You're not allowed to see what's behind the curtain. You're not allowed to see somebody's playing and putting up smoke like they're Oz, just making up stuff every single night, spewing it at 7 p.m. Because when you see it, Emperor's got no clothes. No clothes whatsoever. And she was found out.
I've had some time to process the assassination attempt on Trump yesterday, and I have one thing to say and one thing only. Soon you can call me
I had to delete a couple of words he said because even he mentioning what other people call him and the racial slurs that they use can get me in trouble on this platform.
You can call me a bootlicker, you can call me a sellout, whatever racist descriptor you may choose, but I'm here to tell you this. What we saw on that stage in Pennsylvania was the complete embodiment of what it means to be an American, to stand in defiance against a regime that would wish to cut you down by any means necessary. Most people, when they're shot at, they would turn and run or cower in fear. And the fact that that man chose to take that moment on that stage and stand and pump his fist and encourage us to remain fighting, to continue fighting even though he had blood on his face.
I don't think a lot of people on the left, the soy has hurt them so much they don't understand what an alpha male is anymore. In fact, they're afraid of alpha males. They can't understand the concept. That's why they're trying to doing all the Transformer stuff, and they've got months dedicated to that alternative lifestyle. That's what they've been pushing. We've seen the pictures. We all know who these people are. We know what they embrace, and they've been trying to push alpha males off to the side. And a bunch of alpha males who've been feeling kind of timid saw what happened yesterday, and they realized that's the kind of guy I am. That's the kind of guy I want to associate with. That's the kind of guy I want leading us. I want strength. I want defiance. I want fight. I want people who are going to just look in the face of danger and say, bring it. That's what people want. Unfortunately for the Democrats, they didn't expect that yesterday. I don't know who planned it. I'm not even going to go down that road. I don't have the facts, not even going to basically try to conjecture anything about it. Other than the fact of whatever happened, you enabled Donald Trump to rise to a mythical standard. It's not even a myth. He stood up in the face of bullets whizzing by his head and said, fight. That was a call to arms. And it's a call to arms that many men and many women are going to heed.
If that doesn't stir something deep inside you, I don't know what will. But I'll tell you one thing, Trump 2024, and I'm not the only one.
So an assassination attempt was just made on President Donald Trump, and I don't think it was successful. I think he got grazed in the ear. I'm not going to fearmonger you guys. And I am so tired of these diluted American brains that are listening to this theater script play out on television, telling them that reality is one thing, and they're not smart enough to step out their door and realize reality is completely different.
He's talking about a lot of things. Most recently, Karine Jean-Pierre telling us what we were seeing and hearing with our own eyes and ears about Dementia Joe was a deep fake, a cheap fake. And so many people bought into that narrative. I saw it over and over on Twitter. It's fake, it's fake, it's fake. Where you didn't open your own eyes. You just keep listening to the pablum that people are feeding you instead of understanding. Use the brain that God gave you and understand that they're lying to you.
We have the news telling us white supremacy is one of the biggest threats to our country. We have people telling us that the conservatives are the same as the neo you-know-whats. They have people saying that ultra MAGA is violent. They have people saying that Trump's trying to overthrow democracy. They have people saying that all of the violence and the civil unrest and the inflation and everything is conservative Trump fault. And I'm tired of it. If you aren't smart enough to step outside your door and look around and be like, all right, hold up. This theater that I'm watching inside isn't matching what's going on outside.
You have to be strong enough to detach from the gaslighting that the White House and the media are laying on you. If you're still looking at mainstream news and not understanding that you're being lied to daily, that they're looking you right in the eye and lying to you on camera. If you don't want to basically detached from the matrix, you're going to continue to be gaslit.
Learn to do your own research. I am tired of you guys just running around, I'm a proud American, and then opening your mouth to be spoon-fed information so you can palate it. Because if you ever had to draw your own conclusion or connect your own dots, you would be completely lost and probably dye your hair purple. There is one president in this race that had an assassination attempt taken against him. As a matter of fact, if you think back to the last president that had an assassination attempt taken on him that has gotten this close, you're going to go back a ways. And if you actually look at the presidents that were assassinated and you look at what they were doing to the government money, you would realize the reason they're getting taken out isn't because some random Joe Schmo downtown doesn't want that president. It's because the system feels threatened.
Remember that. The system feels threatened. JFK, go back and do your research. Look at what was going on at the time. Who was threatened by JFK? Who was threatened by Martin Luther King? Who was threatened by RFK? Go back and do the research. You'd be absolutely shocked. Most of you probably won't be, but it's the same people today.
It's not some random person that's living out in the country that's like, I'm going to go in there and I'm going to take out Donald Trump. No, this is a systematic approach, right? Their first approach was, hey, we're going to make sure that Joe Biden gets elected and we're going to make sure he gets the votes. He got the votes. Boom. This time around, they were going to do the same thing. They were going to put Joe out there. He was going to get a landslide of votes. Joe was going to win again. But here's the thing. They decided instead of trying to do anything risky, let's just put our opponent in prison. Let's do it the legal way. Let's send him through the judicial system, get him locked up so he can't run for president. And that failed. And as a matter of fact, it garnished more support for Donald Trump. So they were like, oh crap, Joe Biden, you got to get out there and debate. You got to make sure we can sell how many votes you're going to get and people are going to believe it. But guess what? Joe went up there and fumbled the ball. It's not a coincidence that this assassination attempt happened right after Joe Biden completely fumbled the bag.
That is so true. There are no coincidences. There are no conspiracy theories. Everything he just told you was step by step what happened. They saw what they did in 2020. They were going to do it again in 2024. There was no I can't say the word here, where they could just keep Joe in a basement. So they had to get him out there on the debate stage. He completely imploded. Then he did the interview with George Stephanopoulos, didn't do anything for him. And then just so happened, now they take a shot at Trump. Just got to open your eyes.
The debate stage, and all of a sudden even his own supporters are calling for him to step down. And now the system that you supposedly hate but somehow still vote liberal, that system is panicking. And the only other option they have, since they already exhausted the fake vote, they've already exhausted the legal proceedings, and now their only option is left with desperate, take him out. If you guys can't actually see this playing out, then I don't know what you're on, but I'm so sick and tired of the mentality that Americans have, being like, well, no. Start paying attention. Start paying attention. The presidents that get taken out are the presidents that threaten the system. The same system that you complain incarcerates black people. The same system that won't give you health care. The same system that's doing everything that you've complained about for decades, yet somehow you keep voting for Joe Biden 1994 crime bill, Kamala Harris imprisoning black people on minor marijuana charges just to put people on her prison workforce. If you don't wake up and smell the freaking flowers, I don't know what you're going to do for the rest of your life. Stop thinking like they're telling you how to think and start thinking for yourself. When you go vote, there's one guy that's taking out the system that hates you, and there's another guy that's making that system stronger. You make that choice.
Bingo. He talks so fast. I hope everybody got what he said, but I was like, dude, brother man, you're saying it. You are actually saying it. If you've seen the theme of these people talking, and I didn't know any of them. I mean, I think I knew one guy, CJ Pearson. Other than that, I didn't know any of these people. And I'm seeing a prevailing theme going, open your eyes. Open your eyes. You're being lied to. That's all you have to do is begin looking for information. Who benefits by Trump being gone? Who benefited by JFK being gone? Just have to look. And there's no conspiracy theory. Just go find out the information. Take the time, if you're really interested, and go find out what's going on. Right now, and I've talked to many people today, we're in a scary, scary, scary situation. Because if anybody thinks that there won't be another attempt, you're kidding yourself. I guarantee you Trump realizes it. I guarantee you his kids understand. And at this point, he better up his security really, really good. Watch out what food you eat. I don't think they're going to stop. I think this one didn't work. Okay, we're going to watch what happens. Okay, this guy missed the shot. Missed it by inches. Inches. This man could be dead today. Let me ask you a question. What do you think would happen if you woke up today and found out that in the hospital he died? What would happen? There would be complete chaos, and then they would stop the chaos and go on with all the things that they want to do. They realize at this point they have until November, a little bit before November, because they're stuck with Joe. Unless Joe succumbs, they are stuck with him. They're not going to be able to get rid of him basically between now and November, because you're not going to be able to get anybody on the ballot in some of these states unless you somehow finagle the laws in those states. So now it's basically one-on-one. They know they have to run with Joe. They know Joe's going to get his ass waxed. There's no possible way in a fair election that he's going to win. They realize they've lost way too many black people. They've lost way too many Hispanics. They've lost way too many young people. They know there's eyeballs watching everything. So all these mailbox drops they're going to have to use. Everyone's going to be keeping an eye on them. People camping outside watching. I guarantee you some of the boxes that they used in the hood, they're not going to be able to use. Because there's going to be... You didn't see these kind of videos 4 years ago. Didn't see them. And now you got people out there going, it ain't happening. What are they going to do? What are they going to do? They're going to probably use what they saw yesterday. They can see what the Secret Service did, how they had... Drone, I don't know. But what I do feel inside is that we haven't seen the end of this yet. I pray for Melania, pray for his kids, I pray for his grandkids. Who knows? Nothing is off the table with these people. You have to know that. I think most people can't, not most, many people can't make that choice. They want to be spoon-fed. We're in the digital age. At this point, there are people alive who weren't alive when Reagan was shot. 1981 was 40 years ago. There are people that weren't here then that are voting. That's why they're courting these young kids. They want the 18 to 29-year-olds because they haven't seen it. 2001 was 23 years ago. 2001, obviously 9/11. There are walking, talking humans walking around who have never seen any of the stuff that our government has been involved in. They didn't see the Vietnam War. They didn't see the Kennedy assassination. They didn't see the second Kennedy assassination. They didn't see Martin Luther King Jr. being assassinated. They didn't see 9/11. Most of them don't believe in the Holocaust. They don't even understand what happened in these different wars. They've been completely blinded by their phones and their games and their TikToks. They don't even know what has happened in history. It's not even being taught to them. Boys can be girls. They think Transformers are okay. They don't even believe what happened on October 7th in Israel because people are telling them that it didn't happen. They have no sense whatsoever to go do your own research. So you paint your hair purple, you're told that Trump is like a dictator, and that's all you believe. You've been spoon-fed BS. It's time for you to regurgitate some of that stuff and open your mind.
Are you kidding me?
Many of you may know David Harris. David Harris is a big conservative, and he's out there. And I just loved what he had to say about this.
Tried to assassinate the man that is standing in the way of them coming after all of us. I am so thankful that all of us pray for his protection. Everybody out there that thinks that we pray for his protection for no reason, friends, they just tried to assassinate the man. Looks like it nicked the side of his face or his ear. That could have took him out. That is exactly what the deep state wants. But friends, listen. They're not going to win.
There's a microphone. I wanted to show you something before David continues. I want you to take a look at something. This is a tweet that was put out so you know how close we were to losing this man. these are a couple brain shots. And the way Trump was hit, you can see the bottom one was the way his head was turned. It clipped his ear. That's what the direction he was. If he had just turned his head a couple degrees and had just been looking at something else, that bullet goes in above his temple and through his brain and kills him. So if you're as I've said before, if you're not a praying person, now would be a time to begin praying. And if you are a praying person, begin praying more. God's hand was definitely there, making sure this man was protected. There is no other answer. I watched sniper after sniper talk about things today, and there's no other answer anybody can give why this man is still alive today. Wind trajectory, the guy took a shot, and it was only by the grace of God that Trump's head was turned a couple of inches. When I saw that diagram and I saw that it went through his ear right here, but if he had turned his head and was looking this way, it actually would have went into his brain, and it would have been done. Game over. High velocity round going right through your brain. I can't say lucky. I'm not going to use the word. There was divine intervention. And so David Harris here, who's a very God-fearing man, he's going to basically talk about this and basically bringing us all full circle with a prayer.
They're not going to win. This right here is proof that the spiritual battle that we are in over the soul of this nation to try to assassinate President Trump, are you kidding me? Friends, this right here is the culmination of everything that we've been praying for, that we've been believing for protection over President Donald J. Trump and his entire family. I had dinner with Barron Trump a couple weekends ago, 3 weekends ago now almost. And a good friend of mine is very prophetic. His name's Rex Crane. He actually gave me a word to give to Barron. And he said, Barron, you're going to see in these coming weeks and over this next month, God is going to protect and keep your family. And that was right before the Supreme Court decision that gave President immunity for presidential acts, for official acts. That was like, wow, thank you, God, for that. But in that word, he also said, God is going to keep your family. Friends, I want all of you to believe with me, and we're going to even pray right now for that word, for President Donald J. Trump to be the man, the individual that I believe God has appointed to lead this country out of the disastrous pit that the Democrats would love to take us into a way of socialism, into a way of communism, into a way of literally putting us in chains, lock, stock, and barrel with their policies and their agenda. We need to pray and believe, and we need to thank God. I'm thanking God for that word, for keeping President Trump. I talked to another good friend of mine, Chad Robichaud, just now. Chad said that was without a doubt a high-powered, high-velocity rifle. That was an assault rifle, an AR. That was a high-powered rifle, and he said probably from at least 100 yards away. The person did not have to necessarily be in the crowd, but the fact that they missed. He also said this, and I don't say this as a word of caution, but or word to worry, but to pray. We need to make sure that President Trump, and hope and pray he wasn't hit anywhere else.
And of course, as you know by now watching this video, he wasn't. Although some people think he was hitting his bulletproof vest, that hasn't come out yet. So no worries there. He's fine. I'm going to show you he's fine. He just took that shrapnel in the ear.
It nicked his ear. Hopefully he was not hit anywhere else. I'm sure they're examining his entire body right now. But we just need to pray and believe that this is going to be a unifier of the people. For all of you Democrats out there, for all of you independents out there, for all of you on the fence out there, understand this is the stake. They are trying to take this man out because they want to take this country over, and they want to turn all of us into slaves to the deep state, to the globalist agenda. That is their goal, and he has said it over and over again. They're not after me, they're after you. I'm in the way. He's in the way of them coming after us.
You have to believe that at this point. You can see everything they're doing. They want to raise your taxes. They want you working for an entire year and giving 60 and 70% of your money to the government so they can send it to these overseas areas and get kickbacks. They want you dead. They want you. If they don't want you as a wage slave, they don't care if you die. It's absolutely out there. Go look and pray. And another thing he didn't mention, I'm going to say this to you, and somebody else besides Trump, just the mere fact of a bullet getting close to and striking a 70-plus-year-old man. You imagine the stress on his heart? You imagine what kind of stress his body went through? Just understanding all of a sudden you're standing there talking and doing a speech, and the next thing you know, you turn and boom, something hits you in your ear, you hear pop, 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 you get thrown on the ground, 6 people jump all over you, and you're like, I don't even know what's going on. I know somebody's shooting, but what else is going on? And what your heart must go through at that point, the amount of adrenaline that's going through your body, because you know at this point, there's an attack on you, and you know nothing else. All you know, and if you guys looked at the video, is as soon as it happened, within 2 seconds, there were 5 or 6 bodies on top of Trump, driving him into that podium. And that's the only thing he knew was what's going on. I know I'm under attack, but I don't know where it's coming from. I don't know how long it's going to last. I don't know if there are multiple shooters. I don't know if there's bazookas. I don't know anything. Oh my God. Am I going to see my wife again? Am I going to see my kids? You don't know. Can you imagine enduring that stress? Those of you who haven't had a gun pointed at you, those of you who haven't been shot at, you have no idea what kind of stress that puts on your body, because everything is going through your mind at that point. So I don't think enough people think about that, is that the shot didn't have to kill him. The shot could have caused his body to go into some sort of shock. He could have had a heart attack, and I don't think anybody is even talking about that today. That's how lucky we were as the American people, as conservatives, as Republicans, because it didn't necessarily have to be a shot. This guy could have just succumbed right there from the pressure. Think about that.
So God, we just pray right now for complete healing and recovery for President Donald J. Trump. Complete healing and recovery. And just as he stood up and said, no, don't take me off, I want to let the people know that I'm fine. And he raised his fist in victory. We declare that victory over this nation, victory over all the chains of division, victory over every assassination attempt on us, the American people, on our country, on our way of life. We declare victory over everything that tries to divide us. We declare victory for President Donald J. Trump in November, and for every America First politician that actually represents us, the people, and not them, the government. God, we declare the victory right now in Jesus' name. Full recovery, full restoration for President Trump, and victory. Let this be a uniting factor that takes place for the American people. That we look past our differences and see policies and see the agenda of the enemy, of the left, of the Democrat Party that is pushing the globalist agenda, that doesn't care about us, the individual, that doesn't want family rights, that doesn't want a nuclear family, that wants to let boys get their peepees chopped off and girls cut their breasts off so that they can never reproduce.
Gotta stop him right there, because that is very important. That's what they want to do to youngsters. They don't want them to reproduce. There's too many mouths on the planet that are consuming food. Go look it up.
We want that agenda exposed, and we want a unified American people to stand behind this man, Donald J. Trump, and every person that he selects in every appointment throughout the nation, throughout the state. That's what we're asking for, God. That's what we're asking you for. In the powerful and holy name of Jesus Christ. That is what we're asking for.
Absolutely.
And that's what we're believing for. In Jesus' name. In Jesus' name.
Jesus' name.
God, I had a phone call with Rex a little bit ago. He said everything the enemy means for evil, God will use it for good. We're claiming this that was meant to literally, could you imagine? I don't even want to. They meant this for evil, for us and for the nation. God is going to use it for our good. He's going to use it for our good.
I believe that.
And just trust God. Trust him and pray and believe that God will cause all things to work together for our good and for President Trump's good. In Jesus' name. God bless you.
Like all Israelis.
Before I get to Bibi there, it's Sunday. I wanted to make sure I included that from David Harris. It was so powerful. There's been someone in the chats, I don't see it recently, but he must have posted it, I don't know, maybe 6 or 7 times. He kept saying to me in the chat here, what could I foresee? What bad things could be happening? I didn't know if you were being facetious, but I thought, you know what, let me go ahead and answer that. If you didn't see a bad thing yesterday, I don't know how else I could explain that to you. If they were somehow willing to take a shot at Donald Trump, and you can say, well, Barry, it's no they, it's just this one kid. I'm talking about evil. I'm not talking about a command from one person for you to go do this. If you believe it was just one person, then I can't really help you with that. If you don't realize that there's a force at work here, that there's something, it's Sunday. And so if I'm getting a little bit too biblical for you, but if you don't feel that there's a force of evil being thrust upon Americans, I can't help you because I'm not equipped. I'm not a pastor. Maybe some people in the chat could speak to you and give you passages and you can see what's going on. Again, not a coincidence, not a conspiracy theory. When you don't know if somebody is a woman or not, if you don't know if someone's a boy or a girl, if you don't know that there's been millions of newcomers just thrust into this country wreaking havoc, if you don't know that there's 100,000 kids missing, if you don't know that some guy who had an island where people used to visit and they used to do all kinds of strange things and lots of big name people would go there, and you don't believe that, you're choosing not to believe that. I'm not telling you not to believe it. I'm not telling you to believe it. I'm telling you, go look it up. Let me ask you a question. If you are not of the belief that something happened on that island, tell me how his girlfriend is in jail for doing the deed with some of these kids, yet not one single client has ever been brought to justice. We're talking about something that happened over years with all kinds of men and women and people for years. Not one single person has been arrested other than her. So if you just are in a position where you can discount all of that, what I just said, and still think that there's no evil, then there's not much more I can say, is because you're choosing not to do your own due diligence and understand what's going on in the world. The world, the country, your neighborhood. Bring it as far down as you want. When there's tons and tons and tons of fentanyl coming across the border and people are just dying by the boatload because they don't talk about it on television. They don't talk about it in the news. You have to be willing to open your eyes. So when you ask a question, what kind of bad things can happen, Barry? Just look. They took a shot. Somebody took a shot at a potential president, a former and potential president. Because of why? You've got news hosts, as I just showed you, Joy Reid, locked down her stuff. Why? You're embarrassed about it? And so, I've got one more video we're set to show you here. And this is from the guy who's probably understands the most what Trump is going through. Watch this.
My wife Sarah and I were shocked by the horrific assassination attempt on the life of President Donald Trump. This wasn't just an attack on Donald Trump. This was an attack on a candidate for the presidency of the United States. This was an attack on America.
I assume all of you know who this is. This is Bibi Netanyahu, the prime minister, the leader of Israel, our closest ally. And I'm sure that many people seeing Bibi out here talking and embracing and praying for President Trump is going to cause a bunch of the libnuts to go absolutely crazy. But we know what Israel means to us.
It was an attack on democracy. It was an attack on all the democracies.
Mm-hmm.
On behalf of myself, my family, the government and people of Israel, we wish President Trump a speedy recovery, continued good health, and continued strength.
None of us has a crystal ball. We don't know what's going to happen in November, and only time will tell if we indeed see a Reagan-esque landslide for Donald Trump. But with Dementia Joe and the Democrats having no real message now to put forth to the American people, it's likely we could see that landslide. And for sure, there's no doubt we're going to see Trump's legend continue to grow. And check, yeah, so that's... I wanted to bring that all to you and try to bring it full circle by bringing Netanyahu in, because this man lives under that kind of scrutiny every single day. You think Trump's got it bad? Imagine the security that Netanyahu has to have. You've got countries, never mind people within, you've got countries surrounding you that want to take you out. And there's really, okay, I'm sorry if this sounds a little faith-based, but there's really only one reason why Israel is still there. That might be something you need to go look up. Why is Israel still there? It's despite the fact that people are taking shots and firing missiles, and you've got people running around the street going free Palestine and all this kind of stuff. There's one reason why Israel is still there. There's one reason why we have to believe that Israel needs to be there. It's not up for me to tell you, it's up for you to go take a look at it and figure that out. So let me take a few comments before we get out of here. When your moral compass doesn't point to true north, well, you might want to stop and consider why not. Yeah, it's easy to say what's bad can happen when, I don't know, the people that Morgan is talking about here are people who want to stay on a true path, a true north path. But there's so many people who don't have your best interest at heart. Not at all. I don't mean to get too deep, but man, we are just in something right now that I think, I'm not one of those people who's going to talk about end times. I'm just one of the people who say, just look. I don't have all the answers. The only thing I can impart upon you is to look. Look at what's going on. Why is it happening? How has it been for a year? They've dragged Trump through the mud for everything, and how none of it's working. Oh, well, he slept with a porn star and he paid her $140,000, and because of that, we're going to have to put him in jail. If you put that same standard on the people in Congress, how many congressmen and women would be gone? Well, he overvalued his property, says no one who knows anything about real estate. Again, they regurgitate that to the public who don't understand anything. You can't buy a sand lot that's about the size of 1 acre in Palm Beach for $18 million. Are you kidding me? This one. Oh, well, he took some classified documents, and so we've got to put him in jail forever. But all these guys have them. In fact, we had this one woman who broke up her phones and didn't answer subpoenas, and nothing happened. Oh, that was them. We're coming after you. Oh, Steve Bannon, you need to go to jail for 4 months. For what? Not answering a subpoena. Hey, Merrick Garland, you need to come to court. Here's your subpoena. What? Nobody says anything. Media just talks about Steve Bannon going to jail. Peter Navarro is just getting out. Merrick Garland, what did you do with the subpoena? How is that possible? What bad things could possibly happen, Barry? They're happening on a daily basis. This week, the Republican National Convention begins in Milwaukee. They've got the entire city locked down like Fort Knox. That's where they keep the money, the gold. Speaking of gold, I'll have to play them soon, yes. All I can impart upon you is just look. Just look around, dig, do some research. When you hear a story in the news, think to yourself, what are they talking about? Maybe I should dig deeper into it. But what you really should be looking at is the stories they don't report on the news. The things that you don't hear. Go look it up. Go find out. How is there $1 trillion missing from the Department of Defense? How is there a $230 million dock that just sunk? Why was nobody, not a single person, put in jail or even arrested for that guy who had that island? None of it. None of it. It's not me. I'm not being a conspiracy theorist. I'm saying go look it up. You will find out the information and go, but nobody ever told me. Yeah, exactly. So, and because they count on you not knowing, they call it a conspiracy theory. Well, as of right now, if you're a living, thinking human being and you've lived through the last 5 years, what you thought was a conspiracy theory have been proven to be true. It just took time. My wife and I know a pharmacist, and some of you guys know I was sick last week. And do you know how hard it is to just get simple antibiotics prescribed? Why? Used to go to get antibiotics at the grocery store, get it for free. Why can't you get antibiotics anymore? Anybody care to know? Why you can't just say, listen, hey, I've got a cold, I need some antibiotics. Give me 5 days worth so I can clear this up. Why is it such a hurdle that you have to jump through? Did any of you try to get ivermectin a couple years ago? Why couldn't you get it? Oh, it's horse paste. Yeah, look up the history of ivermectin. Look up its efficiency for decades. Don't just believe it was horse paste. You end up looking stupid. But then, some of you may have gotten that thing stuck in your arm. I know people who then succumbed thereafter. And you're not supposed to talk about that either. That's not a conspiracy theory anymore. And now they're talking about this bird flu showing up. And everyone needs to understand we may have to get jabbed for the bird flu. Good luck with that. Did you know that China has bought up most of the farmland in America? China. Communist China has bought up most of the farmland. Media doesn't talk about it. Why? Why are they not talking about it? And I could go on and on and on, and people would say you're talking conspiracy theories. And I'm not. I'm just telling you stuff. Go look it up. Stuff that you could find out for yourself. You do some research. Go on here, click around, find out what it is, and go, oh crap, he was right. There's some really funky stuff going on. You'll own nothing and be happy. Y'all thought The Matrix was a movie. You didn't think it was a foretelling. You're going to eat the bugs. Live in a pod. Not making it up. Go look it up. It was funny, before Biden became president, I remember talking to my real estate buddies and saying, here's what he wants to do. Oh, Barry, it's not true. I'm like, it's on his friggin' website. He's telling you what he wants to do to the real estate market. All you have to do is read it. They know you won't read. They know most people, many of you are reading, but they know most people won't go take the time and read it. Think about it. Look up depopulation. Not a conspiracy theory. Go look it up. That's all I'm saying. It's just look up this stuff here. Nope, didn't take it. No. Hey Barry, you're one of those guys that was in a high risk category. Yeah, good luck. I ain't taking it. Never did. Liberal Justice says, I've researched a lot of everything you're saying right now, and it's true. They only say it's a conspiracy theory to prevent people from getting the knowledge. I'm going to close with that because I think that's something you really have to understand. It's only a conspiracy theory because they don't want you to look at it. But they say it's a conspiracy theory and they're just saying this stuff, and all you have to do is think about what's happened in the last 4.5 years and how many things people told you was a conspiracy theory. You now know definitively it was all true. All of it. And people made gazillions of dollars, and they experimented with people. And back then, they were like, oh man, you can't take that. What was it? Biden just said it the other day. He told you to inject bleach in your arms. No, he didn't. Go look it up. It's all out there. It's just crazy. Somebody put down here, The Matrix, 1984, The Stand. Let's see if I can get this before it goes. Matrix, 1984, The Stand's all fictional stories that are reality today. Do you know why they were fictional stories then that are reality today? Because a lot of this stuff, how do I say this? A lot of this stuff they got from people who gave them the ideas for the stories. I'm going to leave you with one so-called conspiracy theory. And I'm going to leave it to you to go look it up. It's unspoken of. Nobody talks about it. There were many movies made about it. The Manchurian Candidate. Telefon. Telefon. Look up the movie Telefon. Look up the movie Manchurian Candidate. And then, if you really want to go deep into a wormhole, if you really want to go into the red pill, watch the Bourne Identity movies. Robert Ludlum wrote those books. Robert Ludlum, and one of his books is right back there, The Bourne Identity. I read it and couldn't believe it. I'm like, am I reading this? What the hell is MK Ultra? Oop, did I say? That's a big no-no. Go look up MK Ultra. You want mind-blowing? If you really, the guy who asked me what kind of bad stuff could happen, go look that up. And then go look up what happened to Britney Spears. I'm a conspiracy theorist? Nope. I just read stuff. And what's funny, I talked to Robin, they're not even hiding it. All you got to do, they just trust that people won't go look. They just feel, don't worry, it's because we'll tell everybody their conspiracy theories, and that'll stop most people from looking. And then when people look and they see what's happening, and we can tell them, oh, it's just a conspiracy theory, and they'll be embarrassed and they won't tell anybody else. That's how we'll shut you up. Well, you're a kook. You're an absolute kook. Well, why did Robert Ludlum write a book about MK Ultra and wrote a series about it with the Bourne Identity and all these different books years ago? Back in the 60s, I believe Robert Ludlum wrote those books. Did you think he just sat back one day and goes, you know what? I'd like to write a book series about a spy whose mind we end up effing, and we turn him into a super assassin. That sounds like a great book for me, and I can get my military guys to give me some information, and everybody will think it's just a movie. Yeah. I'm looking at some people say that is some really crazy stuff. Yeah, if you look, you will find. You will definitely find. Thanks, Jane. If we all wear tinfoil hats, then we can make the fun of the people. If we're all wearing tinfoil hats, then we can make fun of the people who aren't. And see, that's what the idea is. You're a crackpot. You wear a tinfoil hat. You're not. And nobody wants to be associated with the nuts. And because those guys are nuts over there, it keeps other people from looking into it. It doesn't become mainstream, doesn't become broad. And so people don't look it up. And so now you're supposed to believe, as we close here, you're supposed to believe this. And I'm going to close with this. As what you saw yesterday, I covered this earlier. And I want you to tell me who's crazier. You ready for this? Who's crazy? So I'm going to tell you a story. And we're going to go back to July 12th. We're not going to talk about yesterday. So I got this story. I think I'm going to write a book about it or a movie. And here's the story. I've only penned a few pages so far. Excuse me. But I got this 20-year-old loner. And this guy just didn't get along with people. And he lives more than an hour away, and there's this presidential candidate that's going to be speaking. And I want him to go out with just 1 week. He's got no experience whatsoever. He flunked out of rifle class. And he says to himself, you know what? I want to go take this candidate out. Okay. So with a week before it, he goes out and he sees where the spot is. And it's only 150 yards away from this candidate that's going to be speaking. Surely that wouldn't be a spot that you could go to, because surely the Secret Service would have secured that area. But for some reason, this 20-year-old loner can find this spot, the high ground closest to the presidential candidate, bring a ladder, climb up the ladder, figure out the security zone to escape detection from law enforcement and the Secret Service while carrying a rifle kit. Through a crowd of thousands of people, he finds a hole in said security. He climbs up to the roof with a perfect view of the stage and has enough time to take 4 or 5 shots at the head of the former president, with bystanders screaming out his location while sniper nests are on overwatch. Anyone want to buy a bridge? Either he was the luckiest person alive, law enforcement and the Secret Service are the Keystone Cops, or take your pick, and as always, think as you will. That's what they just told you you have to believe. And if you don't believe that, you're a kook. If I came to you and said, I'm going to write this book with what you just saw, would you buy that book? Would you think it's even possible? But today, on June 14th at 9:26, that's the book you're buying. That's the book you now have put on your bookshelf. This 20-year-old loner who has no experience, failed out of rifle school, somehow was able to find his way through a crowd carrying a rifle kit with bombs in his car. Scurry up the ladder that he brought with him. Crawl across the roof. Set up to take a shot from 150 yards on a building that nobody secured with this presidential candidate ready to speak. And that's the book that they just wrote. And so when anyone calls you a conspiracy theorist, ask them, would you believe this story? Because you did. You definitely believed it, because that's the story that you were just told. Oh, I forgot. We can't talk to the guy because his head got exploded. Have you noticed there's a pattern? Lee Harvey Oswald. Toast. No one was ever able to speak to him. James Earl Ray. Do you know who James Earl Ray is? Sirhan. How did this happen? How did Sirhan, I believe, if he's not dead, he lived a long time, but nobody was able to talk to him. And now this kid, he goes the route of Lee Harvey Oswald and gets his head blowed off. And that's the story they just sent you. That's the story they just sold you and told you you have to believe. Yet we're going to have to put the tinfoil hats on. Do I know if this kid was MK Ultra? I have no idea. I have no idea if that program was even in place. Got me? But all I do know is that the story you're telling me doesn't make any sense. Because it's not plausible. How many things would have, before I close, how many things would have to go right? All right, so I'm driving to this spot with bombs in my car. Stop there. How did you learn how to make bombs? Who helped you make bombs? Where'd you get the stuff for the bombs? You were that good in putting the bombs together that it didn't blow up in your face? Do you have bomb training? Were you in the army? How'd you make the bombs? Okay, but there were bombs in the car. Gotcha. Was it around the gas tank? Was it in the back? And we know it was 100 degrees. Did the kids smoke? Don't know any of that. Okay, so all right, he's got bombs in the back. Let's go ahead. Were they armed? Were they ready to blow? What was he going to use them for? What was his exit strategy? Obviously, he knew there was a sniper up there. This kid thought he was going to be able to leave. Why would he think he'd be able to leave? I got bombs in my car, which means somehow I think I'm going to be able to exit this after I do it. How did you think you were going to come through this field, go up on the roof, take a couple shots, come back down, and go back to your car with bombs in it? What made you so confident that you were going to get back to your car with the bombs in it? I'm just asking you. You brought the bombs to the location because you expected to use the bombs in some way. Did you think you were going to be able to get away? Did someone tell you you would be able to get away? Were you surprised that your head exploded? I mean, I know it was 42 seconds and they let you take the shot first. So many things were just lucky. Everything about it was lucky. The luckiest kid in the world until his head exploded. That's what they want you to believe. But I'm the conspiracy theorist because I'm just like, hey man, I'm listening to the story you're telling me, and you're asking me believe it. Tell me this is true. Like this guy closed here. Take your pick on which ending you want, and as always, think as you will. And that's the moral of the story. You're either going to believe what they tell you, or you're going to start looking and digging deeper and finding out what really, really happened. Barry, maybe he didn't know. Oh, there's a good one. Maybe he didn't know they were in a car. Duh. Now you're thinking. Now they're thinking this guy gets off the roof. He doesn't know these things are in the back of the car. We need to make it go boom. Because we can't have this kid walking away. You on to something right there. Wow. Absolutely. That's all I'm saying. I'm saying question everything. Understand everything. The guy who asked me what could go wrong, I'm sure yesterday morning when Trump left his home, flew to Butler, Pennsylvania, got on that stage, he didn't think there was going to be a guy trying to hit his head. What can go wrong? Everything. That's the times we're in right now. Stay frosty. If you don't know what Stay Frosty is, go ahead and look that up as well. Thank you guys for enduring, two plus hours with me. I enjoyed going through this. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Let people know about it. Do me a favor. Just do this.
Come on. Show some love and click that like button.
Click the like button before you leave. Thank you very much, and we'll talk to you tomorrow. My voice is